Good morning, friends. So, over the break, I was baking a lot, as I mentioned in a previous video, and I was baking a lot of recipes that had been passed down to me through my family. And that got me thinking about family traditions. There are a lot of traditions that every family has that are celebrated at different times throughout the year. And I thought for today's video, I would show you a tradition, a family tradition of my husband's family who lives in Sardinia, Italy. So, Sardinia is an Italian island. And I wanted to show you a really amazing picture of Marcello's aunts making what I'm going to show you how to make today. So, take a look at this picture. Isn't this incredible? And that picture is of his aunts making pasta. And Marcello has learned this from his family. And so today I'm going to show you a video of Marcello making homemade pasta. So, are you ready to see how it's done? Enjoy! So, to make the pasta, it requires only two ingredients: eggs and flour. So to make enough for 4 portions for 4 people, you will use 4 large eggs and 400 grams of flour. So now we're going to watch as Marcello mixes this together. So now he's already put 2 eggs in, and he's putting a 3rd egg, and now 4th egg. You can, of course, buy your eggs from a grocery store. We like to buy our eggs from a local farm, and it's actually quite nice to see. You see all the chickens running around, and to know it comes directly from there is fun. It might be a nice little trip for you to take if you want to buy some eggs. Now he's stirring this together with only a fork. So he's not using a mixer, not using a whisk, just a fork. And as you can see, he's mixing the eggs in with the flour. And in just a little bit, we'll see what he does once that's all mixed together. Now that he used a fork to mix the eggs and flour quite well, as you can see, he's using his hands to work the eggs and flour together even more. So of course, before he did this, he washed his hands very, very well. And now we're putting the dough onto the cutting board that already has some of that flour on it already to make this process a little bit easier. And as you can see, he's working it with the flour, stretching it, and he'll keep doing that until it reaches just the right consistency. So he's going to work the flour into that. And what you want to avoid is breaking the dough. So he's just working the flour into it. And this is something that can be done for even around 10 minutes. So you really just take your time with this, work in the flour little by little until the flour has been incorporated, until it reaches a really nice consistency. Now that he's worked this about 10 minutes, he's going to form it into a kind of ball. And the other flour that's left over, he's going to leave and use when it comes to rolling out the dough, which you'll see that process next. If you can see, he's made a nice little ball. And then he's going to cover that with plastic wrap and let that sit for about a half hour. Once you've made the dough for the pasta, you cut off a piece. Isn't that cool that pasta looks like that? And then you're going to start rolling it because you want to make it really thin, because remember, this is going to be pasta in the end. So the rolling process begins. You can see that Marcello has used flour on the board and on the pasta to help make it easier to roll. Now we'll continue seeing his technique after he's been rolling for a little while. is my favorite part. I love that part. I think that's so cool. And isn't it amazing that all of this pasta is just flour and eggs mixed together? That's it. And sometimes he changes up the rolling pins because that one that he's using now is heavier than the other one, and that again helps make the pasta nice and thin. Mm-hmm. So longer ago, this is the way that people rolled out pasta. Nowadays, there's machines that make it a little easier, but this is the traditional method of rolling out the dough, stretching it out. So now that all of the pasta sheets have been rolled out, it's time to actually cut them into the shape of noodles, a fettuccine in this case. When I first saw Marcello doing this, I assumed that he would just cut them like that, but actually I was wrong. There is a different technique, so let's take a look. So he's rolled that up, and then guess what he's going to do? Exactly, he's going to cut. And he's right-handed, so there you go. There you go. So he's going to cut it that way. To make the pasta noodles. And shall we see him unroll one? There you go, look at that. And that is pasta now. The last step is that it needs to be dried a little bit. So I will show you in just a moment what he uses to hang these so that they don't touch each other and that they have a chance to dry a little bit. Now I want to show you, once Marcello has cut all of the pasta into strips, it now needs to hang for a little bit to dry. So this dries for a couple of hours, and then it is ready to cook. So you cook this in boiling salted water for far less than dry pasta. So this cooks in probably just about 5 minutes. Other pasta you cook that's dry for about 10 minutes or even longer. So this cooks a lot quicker and is delicious. And next I'm going to show you some homemade tomato sauce that we're going to put on top of this. So now Marcello is going to stir the sauce that he's made to go on top of that beautiful pasta. Isn't that nice? He's put in onions and garlic and carrots and celery and tomato sauce and lots of different spices. He's letting that simmer on the stove for quite a while to let the flavors mingle. And it's going to go beautifully on top of the pasta. So now the pasta has been cooked and mixed with the sauce. The last step will be to put it on a plate, sprinkle with some cheese, and that is a meal. Now we've put some fresh basil on top. I'm going to sprinkle a little Parmesan and can't wait to enjoy. So for the end of this week, we would love to see or hear about a family tradition of yours. We look forward to learning all about something special that your family does together. Have a great rest of the week. Talk to you soon. Bye.